Hello, Fiona.
Hello, T.
How are you doing?
Not bad. How are
You're
you?
back in orange.
I am. Well, I felt a bit strange last week in your colours. It didn't feel strange, but it looked odd, not odd, but it looked unfamiliar on screen to me. It was a funny one. Yeah,
Fabulous. Okay, okay. So today's topic, we're going to be chatting about graded readers.
we are. Yeah.
So I will admit I have less to say perhaps on this topic. I definitely don't use them at the moment. I
Mm.
have a couple of students who have bought them themselves, a couple of my
Right, yeah.
adult students. One of them, she was reading Pride and Prejudice.
Mm?
Kind of, it was a C1 level book, but she's kind of B1 speaking, but B2 vocabulary. But she was enjoying it, so that's good for her.
Well, I have the original one, the unabridged one behind me somewhere down there. Nice edition as well.
Mhm.
But yes, me on the other hand, I use graded readers quite a lot. I do quite a lot of reading for pleasure. And I've got here in front of me one of the first publications I ever wrote, and it's this. But
Ah, nice.
don't think it's still online, but it was a downloadable, but I got hard copy myself. It was like a free PDF booklet that
Mhm.
Millen had, and it's like the first thing I was really proud of. I used to give a lot of talks as well on graded readers. I really like them. I mean, I will confess, there are some classics of English literature that I have only read as graded reader.
I mean, they make it more accessible to everyone,
Mm.
I think. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, Great Expectations, for example, I've only read. And is it called Mansfield Park?
Hmm.
Yeah. So there's a few of them that I've only ever read
It's
and enjoyed, because.
well, because it's interesting there that you mentioned reading for pleasure. I mean,
Hmm.
because I get the feeling that, we do want our learners to be reading more extensively. Have you had,
Yes, increasingly more as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, and reading longer chunks of text?
exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Have you had learners who have been voracious readers, who have really enjoyed the opportunity to read the classics and
I've had um so I've had the kind of student who comes to the UK. I'm talking about recent times. Spain, it was different. That was now two contexts, but recently or recent years, I've had the students who come over and they set themselves the task of reading a book a week.
Mhm.
And it lasts for maybe 3 weeks. Then on the other hand, this last year, I had a student who openly admitted that he'd never read a book,
Mhm.
like literally had never read a book. And he really struggled in the reading skills exams because he just didn't have a reading habit and
Mhm.
he couldn't read that fast in any language, let
Mhm.
alone in English. So I suggested that he go and just go to the bookshop, find a book. And I told him which section, where I said, there's the grader readers, or go and find something, or a kid's book or something, and just find something you like the look of. And he is now completely addicted to The Little Prince. So he got
Ah,
himself, there's a graded reader version. I'm not sure which publisher, can't remember. Having read that, he went and found the full unabridged version and read that, and he read it again, and he started carrying it everywhere with him. And I don't know if he's read much else, but he absolutely fell in love with
mm,
The Little Prince. And I think that's probably going to be one of his greatest memories of his year here. He also had, and actually I've got it in front of me, but he had this one as well,
mhm.
um, Romeo and Juliet, and then we acted that one. And I think that also helped him kind of get into reading because he was Romeo, the student, in our performance of it this year. And I think these That's was a level three. Yeah, I mean, you say we're doing Shakespeare, it's quite intimidating. And then they figured that actually they can understand
Mm.
this stuff, and
Yeah.
that's motivating to start with. So, but in Spain, I think I had more, shall we say, voracious readers, but that was 10 years ago. Um, Young people particularly either read a lot or not at all now, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah. I mean, going back 10 years, we had the school that I was working at, we had a book box, and it was a colleague's idea, Jill, to kind of
Yeah.
put this thing together. And it was, because graded readers tend to be kind of A5 size, and
Yeah,
you could
that's
get,
basically this is yeah.
yeah, one of those stacking drawers, the ones that you're supposed to put your stationery in.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
they were
yeah.
perfect for kind of having, 5 or 6 books within a level, and then the students could come and they could kind of open a drawer and take out the books
Yeah.
and choose which one that they wanted to read and take away for a week.
A, well, a portable library is one of the things that's generally recommended. I mean, it's in here, but Bamford, was it Bamford and Bamford and remember, I should have a quick flick through the pages here. But in their reading for pleasure book, that's one of the things that's generally recommended. It's like a portable library. So as a teacher, you have a bunch of books in a box
Mm.
and take it classroom to classroom. I'm always in the same classroom or one of two classrooms, so I actually have a load of books in each, and they can go in and choose. But I think throughout my teaching career, whether I was in Seville or wherever I've been, one of my most popular lessons, a lesson that has always worked well, is just to go in with a pile of books, put them on the floor in the middle, or on
Mm.
the table in the middle, and just say to everybody, right, you've got 20 minutes, just dig in, flick through, read the back, look at the front, and choose a book. And they do, they get, doesn't matter the age. I've done this with 10-year-olds, I've done it with 20-year-olds, they do, they love it. And now I do a lecture on like an introduction to British literature. And I go in with, I'm looking around, well, so I've got Pride and Prejudice, the original version there, and I've got these guys here.
Hmm.
And I take in his Dark Materials, and I take in The Hobbit, and I take what else do I take? Oh, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Some other bits and bobs. I don't know, but unabridged. Some of them are graded readers, and some of them are at the original. Just put them on the table and then get them to look through which one looks interesting, and then guess what the connection between them is.
Hmm.
Of course, the connection being they're all related to Oxford, but usually what happens is that one of these two,
One of
if not
the
both,
Alice's books, yeah.
somebody will say, "Can I borrow?"
Oh.
Yeah, so pretty much these two are the favorites, and
Hmm.
they are both graded readers. One's level 6, one's level 5, so she without putting her glasses on. And they've got the original images. Macmillan has the original copyright. Um, yeah, so I do that a lot. And I think because graded readers, one thing that they have is very appealing illustrations, generally
Mm.
speaking, that really support the meaning, which is less intimidating than most, than going to a bookshop in the UK or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And I think probably as well because a lot of them are the classics. So often they're titles that are familiar to our students, maybe even the
mm,
plots as well, which I think takes off a lot of that stress of I won't understand the storyline.
yeah. But generally speaking, there are other classics or written specifically to be graded readers, but that's because copyright. Um, the like Delta at the moment have got a really good series. One's about Brighton, one's about London, one about New
Mm.
Zealand. There's one about Oxford, I think. but they're written specifically to be
Hmm.
graded readers. So again, they've been, I'm going to use the word engineered. That doesn't sound
Hmm.
very sexy, but they've been conceived of and constructed to be
Hmm.
accessible, and then the illustrations are clearly connected to them and
I mean,
activities and stuff.
so going back to the this book box, I think quite a lot of the ones that we had as well were so they were called graded readers, but they there was a lot of non-fiction in
Mm.
there as well. A lot of I think it might have been National Geographic ones. So it'd be, about sharks or and so
Yeah,
again, like it's the like you say, lots of visuals, very visually appealing, kind of shorter chunks of text for lower levels. And that was really engaging for the younger learners to kind of look at this book and
yeah.
go, wow, this is a really interesting topic.
I mean, these Delta ones, they're quite nice, but they are stories set again. Like the London one is kind of like a treasure hunt. The
Mm.
two characters go, they, what's the novel anyway, they find clues and they ping around a bit like Paddington 2, where there's clues and they have to collect the
Mhm.
clues and then they find um the treasure, and but on the way then obviously they go to Buckingham Palace and they go to Tower Bridge and they go to St Paul's Cathedral, that kind of thing. So you've got a mixture of fiction and kids as the protagonists and a bit of learning about London. But some of the graded readers that we have at work, for example, there's one about the royal family. I've seen the history of football,
Mhm.
these sort of things. So yeah, they're not all fiction, but that not everybody wants to read fiction.
Yeah.
And that idea is that you read for pleasure. Therefore,
Mhm.
you read something. You know, I've I got Pride and Prejudice this year to read because I don't think I've ever read it. I studied Emma and that, but that kind of thing. As a teenager, the last thing I wanted to read was, say, Wuthering Heights or something. So if I had to read Wuthering Heights, I feel like no.
Mhm.
So you need a range of titles, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking at what I've got Friday about, apart from Romeo and Juliet and Tales for Adventurous Girls and Alice in Wonderland, I got this one, which
The
um
Ghost. Oh.
yeah, I quite like this one. It's a adaptation. There's a film of this one as well. Some of them there's films.
Hmm.
There was a film of this. I think it was Ewan McGregor and Pierce Brosnan, maybe
Hmm.
long
Oh,
time
is it
ago.
about a
But
ghostwriter?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. It's not a ghost.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the ghost is the ghost writer. That's it.
Hmm.
There's politics, and it's a thriller. So that's so different. And I've actually read this one myself more than once because they're easy to stick in my bag if I'm traveling. It's
Yeah.
easier than taking a big chunky novel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do, I'm still a big um, supporter of graded readers, and I think there's masses we can do with them. And you can either just say to students, choose, read, and form a little book club, recommend, put a little review on the wall,
Hmm.
dig through and have a 10-minute quiet time just reading a little bit of one.
Hmm.
Something is better than nothing.
Have
Or agree
you
as a group on
have you ever
which
kind of
one.
chosen a set text to work with as a class? I mean, you mentioned there
Oh,
Romeo and Juliet.
only Romeo and Juliet, yeah, because then
Uh-huh.
they act it. I've worked at places where that was recommended. It didn't really work because for the same reason I still loathe and detest, and I'm very sorry if anybody's offended, Wuthering Heights, because I had to read it at school and I
Yeah.
hated it.
Yeah.
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 And I'm not overly keen on Charles Dickens for the same reason.
Hmm. Hmm. One of
It
my
feels like
students, he's I've got a German student who's 17. It's just a one-to-one. But he told me at the beginning of the year that in their English classes they were going to be reading a story together, a graded reader. And I said, oh, that's great. If you like, I could get a copy and we could kind of read it through together. So he didn't seem that interested, but I thought, well, I'll find out what the book's about. And it sounds like this amazing story. And I can't remember the name of it now because I'm going back to kind of, September, October. But it was about a woman who was masking. So she was born in kind of 50s America, mixed race family. But I think there were two sisters, and one of them kind of grew up white, and the other one kind of grew
I've
up.
read that novel.
Ah,
Yes. What's it called? I
I'll
don't
find it
remember the title.
afterwards,
I've
but
read it though.
yeah, because it sounded like such a
Behind
great
me
story. I was like,
somewhere.
I'd love to chat about that.
I've got the novel. It's somewhere behind me in my
Mm,
bookshelves.
yeah,
It
but
is.
yeah,
It's two, are they twins maybe? And grows up white presenting and the other one grows up black presenting it through choice.
mm,
And
yeah,
how the lives are completely different and they get separated. I can't remember quite why when they're kids and then they meet as adults and how different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What's it called? It's called like the other one or the other half or the other. Don't know.
we'll
Tell you
find it.
next
We'll
week.
put it in the show notes.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a good one.
yeah,
But I think
yeah.
reading, but I am a reader. I don't know. I mean, the Little Prince student, that was luck. But I think you cannot set a text and then expect your students to suddenly become
Yeah,
readers. They won't. They
yeah,
have to be able to have agency and choose and
mm,
find their own way to these things. You can help them read texts and stuff in class, and you can read Slug in Love or whatever, but um, I'm sure I do know a teacher, Angel Anderson. I don't know if you know. He used to be really good at getting a whole class to fall in love with the book.
yeah,
But that's hard. And that's
mm,
really hard. And it takes a lot of time that a lot of us don't have.
yeah,
I couldn't dedicate 3 lessons to trying to get students to fall in love with a book.
yeah.
Um,
But I mean, I think that's something that people have commented about as well in recent years about reading. And, a lot of the time we've tended to push reading for homework because we want
mm,
to use the class time to be speaking and to be
yeah,
doing things. And, people are saying actually thinking about exam preparation as well,
yeah.
that we need to be developing those skills for them to be able to do well in
Mhm.
the exams. It's not just, unfortunately, it's not just about developing a love of reading. Often it is about
Yeah,
the time pressures and things.
but to say doing this, this lecture I do on literature, that I can have 20 minutes at the beginning just with a bunch of books on the table.
Hmm.
And you say, well, find one that you think might be of interest or one that you would consider reading at least a few pages of.
Yeah,
But also the other task is find out what they've got in common. So they're still looking through and they might be reading the blurb on the back or the author description thing inside the front cover or flicking through or, they're they are engaging with the
yeah,
texts. And then there's still choice in there. And I leave them to it for about 20 minutes minimum. And with the 10-year-olds, with this big box of books, they would beg me to have a whole lesson just sitting on the floor reading.
yeah,
And we would do that. And I would say, okay, but you do all have to actually sit on the floor and read, not just daydream or whatever.
yeah,
And they would lie and they would pick one up, and if they didn't like it, they put it back, pick another one up. And you could do a full lesson on that. One
yeah,
lesson. Yeah. Um, and I think with reading is it's quite relaxing and as well as language input. And so if you can find something or a choice, could be articles, but if it's articles, I would say keep in illustrations, photos,
mm,
whatever. Don't just print out the text. Keep that visual support with them. Choice is a biggie because say it's agency and we don't all want to read the same thing. I hate Wuthering Heights. Lots of people absolutely love it. Yeah,
Films out
lots of people,
soon.
yeah, or Jane Eyre or these things. I was like, yeah, okay, it's your favorite book. It's
Mhm.
not my thing, but I think, things like book clubs as well. If you do like a class book club, if you give different people in each little club different role, so they're in charge of something. Again, it's a kind of agency. It's not just sort of a fuzzy read a book and discuss it. It's well, you're going to see if you can find some interesting vocabulary you think the others would like to use or that you can share out, and you find out, decide who's your favorite character and prepare to tell the others about that. And then they've got something to bring
Mm.
to the table as well. Yeah, different tasks, different roles, something to contribute.
Yeah.
Rather than sort of a fuzzy read the story and talk about it, and then you're still thinking, oh, they understood it better than me, or they got more to say than me, or whereas if they've got a clear task,
Yeah, I like that. I like and I like you, like you say, maybe not just assigning tasks as well, but kind of giving them the choice of tasks for
give
how
a
they can
choice. Yeah.
engage with it afterwards.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
and you can engage with the covers as well, even before you start. I just noticed on the back here, but the covers of so many um, graded readers are designed to hook
Mm,
the students, and so you can actually choose the pictures on the front to start with. What do you think this book's about? The kind
yeah.
of predicting, and do you think it's got what genre do you think? What kind of story? The colors? Do you think it's going to be high
Mm,
energy? Is it going to be scary? And then chuck all the books on the table and get them. Or even, I mean, this isn't a catalogue, but catalogues you could have a look. They could choose, like as a group, you go through the catalogues and choose the ones. If there's three different, then you have three different books in the class, and they have three little book clubs, and
nice.
and then they recommend their story to them, they do whatever, and then maybe share there's lots of things you can do with graded readers. Lots. It's a good source of text for teachers if they want to use text for dictations, dictogloss, grammar, the whole lot. There's all sorts of stuff. There's all the comprehension questions in them nowadays.
Well, let's save some ideas for another episode
Yes, sorry, I'm just
on
getting all
graded
enthusiastic now.
readers. Fantastic. Yeah, so
Sorry.
another one where we've scratched the surface.
Yeah,
Um, and yes, but we will be back with more graded readers and storybooks and picture books and all sorts. And you've got your little
exactly.
food.
Yeah. I've got my little friend again. Yeah, my octopus mug. Yeah.
Well, cheers and see you again soon.
See you next week.